Hi folks, Frank here, and today I'd like to talk about the Book of Mormon. Now I was online and ran across an ad that offered a free Book of Mormon to anybody who would simply ask. I've read many religious texts looking for that divine revelation that will save my heathen soul, and so I thought, a free Book of Mormon? I'm getting mine. So I went to the website, filled out the information, and to my surprise, promptly, the next Saturday morning, there was a knock upon my door, and two elders of the church presented me with my personal copy of the Book of Mormon. Now, before I started reading it, I did a little research. I found out that their prophet, Joseph Smith, was born in 1805. In the early 1820s, he started to receive divine revelations. He was told by the angel Moroni that they were a set of brass plates buried within the hill of Comorah, and upon these plates, in the language of Reformed Egyptian, was graven a New Testament of Jesus Christ. Now, of course, this greatly excited Mr. Smith, and he immediately wanted to dig them up and start transcribing them. The only problem is Moroni would not let him touch the plates, telling him that at the time he did not have the proper companion. So, in the mid-1820s, Joseph Smith married, and finally he had the proper companion. So he went to the hill of Comorah and dug the plates up. All that needed to be done now was to translate them. Now, the method that Joseph Smith used to translate these plates is a little strange. It went something like this. He would take a white stovepipe hat and a chocolate-colored stone, a seeing stone, and place this stone in the bottom of the hat. He would then stare into the hat and look at the stone, and the translations would magically appear upon the stone, and he would transcribe them. Strangely, he never had the plates in his possession while he was translating them. Magically, the writing on the plate would appear on the stone translated, and he would be able to transcribe them that way. In 1830, he published the Book of Mormon, and shortly after that, he started to attract adherents, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was born. And so we have the text that Joseph Smith produced, the Book of Mormon, another testament of Jesus Christ. Now, the Book of Mormon is the story of a Hebrew prophet, Lehi. Lehi left Jerusalem and wandered with his family in the wilderness for many years. Then he received a revelation from the Lord that he was to lead his people to a promised land, a new promised land in the Western Hemisphere. He received a magical compass from the Lord and built a ship, taking his family to the New World. Once here, two of his sons had a falling out. One of them, the good son, Nephi, formed a group of people termed the Nephites. Nephites are the heroes of the Book of Mormon. They produce a line of prophets who produce the brass plates upon which this Book of Mormon was supposed to be written in the language of Reformed Egyptian. The bad son, Lemun, forms a group of people called the Lamanites. Now, the Lamanites are the evil bunch. They're the people who reject God's revelation. As punishment, God gives them dark skin. Now, the dark-skinned people are the Native American people, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Cherokee, the Huron, all of the Native American peoples. And so these two groups contend throughout the Book of Mormon. They each build cities, have huge civilizations, they have battles of hundreds of thousands of people, millions are killed throughout it. It's just like any religious text, you've got to kill a lot of people. And throughout it all, the Nephites keep records on the plates of brass. So this goes on from 600 BC until 430 AD. During this time, the Nephites received revelation of Jesus Christ centuries before he's even born. And lucky them, they're being saved by the grace of Jesus Christ before he even has to sacrifice his life on the cross. And so eventually, the Nephites dwindle in unbelief. They become more and more disillusioned with the revelation of Jesus Christ until in 430 AD, there is only one left, and that is Moroni. Now, he still has faith, and he carries with him the plates of brass. He takes these plates and buries them in the hill of Comorah, where they lie undiscovered until Joseph Smith digs them up in the 19th century. And that is a quick overview of the story in the Book of Mormon. Now for a little criticism. First of all, Joseph Smith wants to sound authentic, and so he uses the language of the King James Bible, which was written in 1611. Now, in the 200 plus years since it was written, the language had changed greatly, and Joseph Smith has a hard time aping the language correctly. He seems to think that by using the phrase, "and so it came to pass," by using a lot of beholds, and for some reason he loves the word exceedingly. And by using these formulas, he tries to make you think that it sounds like the King James Bible. He also tries to use the pronouns of the King James Bible, and he does not do a very good job. He uses them sometimes, he doesn't use them sometimes. He's just not very skilled at it at all, and it comes through loud and clear in the book. And how anybody even stood this for a divine revelation, just from that alone, I can't see. But anyways, let's go on to the next major criticism I have, which is the anachronisms in this book. It's just amazing, the things that are completely out of place. Technological. First of all, he has the Lamanites and the Nephites fighting with swords. Sorry, Joseph, but they didn't have swords in pre-Columbian America. They used obsidian set into a club, but they did not have any swords. He also has chariots. Now, chariots require wheels. No, another thing that was never in pre-Columbian America is the wheel. It's a technology that was never developed in the Americas. There's also flora and fauna that only existed in the Old World. He has horses in this book. Now, Mormon apologists have speculated that they were very large deer, not horses. The problem with that is the prophet translated it as horses. How did he get that wrong? But, they got to think up some excuse. They're apologists. That's their job. He also has pigs. Pigs in the New World. He has silk. Those silkworms in the New World. He has sheep. Those sheep in the New World. The list goes on and on as far as barley and wheat. He has those being grown in the New World. No, sorry, but they weren't being grown in the New World. Other criticisms are on the basis of genetics. You would think that if for 1,000 years the Hebrews had a huge civilization of hundreds of thousands of people throughout the Americas, that they would leave some trace in the genetic record. But there is none. There's no Hebrew, Jewish DNA in any Native American peoples. And then there are the linguistic considerations. There are no words that go back to Hebrew in any Native American language. Now, Joseph Smith said that the plates of brass were written in Reformed Egyptian. The only script of writing that came out of the New World was the Maya script. Although it bears a superficial resemblance to hieroglyphics, it really cannot be linked in any way to any kind of Egyptian, Reformed or otherwise. So once again, another thing in here that's just, no. Archaeological evidence? Well, nothing, none of the cities, none of the battles, nothing in here can be confirmed through the archaeological record. Once again, we have a total fail on the part of the Book of Mormon. So, what are we left with? We're left with poor Joseph Smith producing this volume in 1830, and duping a lot of people into believing, to this very day, that this is a true testament from Yahweh. And that's what faith will do to you. You don't ask questions. You blindly accept what says in your book and go your way. It's also the most tedious book I've ever read. It was very hard for me to get through, but I stuck with it because you never know. On the very last page, I could receive that divine revelation, and I could have accepted Jesus into my heart, got myself a pair of magic underwear, moved to Utah, became a Mormon. But it just didn't happen. Well, that's all I have to say on the Book of Mormon. Frank out. See you next time. I'm done with that.